I want to start by saying how pleased I am to have you here in Bratislava. I wanted to have this meeting and I wanted to invite you early enough in the mandate of the current government to express our appreciation for everything you do, for Slovakia, and for us. And I'm really pleased that so many of you have responded positively and managed to find time to come here to Bratislava. By now, I believe everything has been said. I hope the meeting was useful for you, and I hope that you spend your time and money well, and I would like to hear from you. How do you assess and how do you evaluate the meeting that is about to end, and what are your recommendations for us, for the work of the Foreign Ministry, for the government, and for Slovakia? So I'm not going to hold a lecture here. I would only like to stress a couple of points that I'm sure have been mentioned during your conference, but issues that I consider important and maybe issues that deserve to be repeated. First, you are here, as I said, early enough in the mandate, after 6 or 7 months since the new government in Slovakia has been introduced, and this is a good opportunity for you to see the new situation, new realities in Slovakia. We had 2 elections since our last meeting that took place 4 years ago. The elections that took place in March this year, as you heard also from the Prime Minister this morning, produced a result that has never been the case in Slovakia, a single-party government emerging as a winner of a democratic, free and fair competition of 26 political subjects, a party with extremely strong mandate and strong support in the parliament. The number of parliamentarians for Smer as the political party is higher than was the overall number of 4 coalition parties that used to form the previous government. The message, as we understood it, from our citizens and from our people is that they want to see stability. They understand we are living in difficult times, and they want to see a government that has the mandate, that has the strength to steer the society and this country through these difficult times and challenges. They don't want to see quarrels, they don't want to see problems which are unnecessary. And we understood this message. To have a single-party government, which is a normal case in many countries, but we've never had less than 3 coalition parties in the government in Slovakia, is an enormous challenge. One feels the responsibility. There is no one to blame for our own mistakes. There is no one to hide behind. We cannot say that we don't have coalition partner support, we do not have enough votes. We have all we need to govern. And it's also a major opportunity, because right now, during this legislative period, we can do things that were quite often not possible. We can change laws, we can fine-tune the functioning of our society, we can address many issues that have not been addressed before. And that's a huge challenge, and we want to face this challenge, we want to use this challenge and this opportunity. For this, of course, we also need you. Because I would say that all the opportunities that will not be used during this 4 years' time will probably not come back. And it will be too late to complain after. Prime Minister made it very clear that the overall course of the current government is strongly pro-European, meaning pro-EU. I want to add one sentence. This does not mean at all that we are going to focus on the European Union only. This means that that the values, the principles of the ways we conduct our internal and foreign policies are those of the European Union. At the same time, we want to pay more attention to other regions of the world, because, of course, that's the reality, and I will speak about it lately. Since our last meeting 4 years ago, Slovakia accomplished its strive, its ambition to become the member of the organizations and groupings we always wanted to be. Of course, we were members of the European Union back in 2008, and we just joined the Schengen zone, the border-free and passport-free zone in 2007. But after the meeting, we also managed to join the Eurozone as of 2009. And since May 2011, there are no longer any limits on free movement of people within the European Union, because there were still some barriers introduced by some countries, particularly Germany, Austria. So since May 2011, we have achieved the highest level of integration. There is no other integrational grouping we would like to join. So for it's a change of paradigm, because for many years we were fighting to join something, to enter NATO, European Union. Now we have achieved it. We are everywhere we wanted to be. We have to focus about how to function within these organizations and groupings. What does it mean for us? This also changes priorities of the foreign policy, because one of the direct consequences of opening of the European market and European space means that our tens of thousands of our citizens are using the freedom of mobility, and we have tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of our citizens living and working in the countries of the European Union. And that creates new challenges for us, for our consular service, and for those of you who are representing us in the countries of the European Union. And this is a completely new situation. We have a big and serious problem with 200,000 Slovaks living in the United Kingdom who deserved to be served by us, who have sometimes some legal problems, some other problems, of course, who want to have their rights protected, their documents issued, and so on and so forth. This is something that has never been the situation, and we are trying to adjust to it. That's to provide you only with one example. Second, as you've heard many times, we are all facing the economic difficulties, fiscal crisis. Slovakia has not been a source of this crisis. On the contrary, our economic performance has been good, our financial situation has been good, our banking system has been sound, healthy. But of course, we are part of the wider mechanism, wider structure, and therefore we feel the impact. So it's clear that we are facing budgetary austerity measures. We see limitations. We cannot expect to have more money, and therefore we have to use the efficient resources, including the budgetary resources, in a much more efficient way. And that's another challenge that I am facing, and I am trying to share this challenge with you. As a result, our ministry was entrusted with new additional competencies, but also duties. For the first time in modern Slovakia's history, the foreign minister was also appointed into the capacity of the deputy prime minister. There are 3 deputy prime ministers in the government. It does not mean that I have a second office. It only means that I have additional responsibility, namely to coordinate all the external activities of the entire government and state agencies, all the activities with external dimension from all the ministries, which strengthens the role of the foreign ministry, because it clearly shows that anything that happens in the external area should be somehow reported to us, should be coordinated by us. And this is very important, because that means we will no longer be facing the situation that some state agencies or ministries were doing things that we were not very much feeling comfortable about, but there was not much we could do. So this is one thing. Second, of course, we are now directly responsible for European policies. European policy is different from the foreign policy, because we are part of the European Union, and therefore preparing our meetings, discussions, conclusions for Brussels, for the European Union, it's part of our internal politics. 80% of all laws that are changed in Slovakia are changed as a direct consequence of the directives that are being adopted at European level. we need to teach our people and to show them that there is a distinction between the foreign policy and European policy, and that's also one of the reasons why we've also changed the name of this ministry, and it's now called Ministry for Foreign and European Affairs. And there are other additional competencies which all have direct impact on you and on your workload and on our expectations from you. First, of course, as I said, the overall coordination of all the activities. That means if you feel that some governmental player from Slovakia is doing something you don't feel comfortable, please report to us. Make sure. I don't think it will happen, but I just want you to know that this is the primary address. Second, we are also responsible for the coordination of all trade and business activities abroad. So you are familiar with the structure of our embassies in your countries. You know that in most of the embassies we have economic or trade diplomats, attachés, counselors. Until last year, they were reporting to the Minister of Economy. Now they are reporting directly to us. They are part of our structure. So we have a monolithic structure, and that also means that it's us, it's this ministry which is responsible for the foreign trade and foreign investment, and this is coordinated by the State Secretary Peter Burian. The European agenda is coordinated by State Secretary Peter Javorčík. Another big challenge, an issue that we have been talking a lot about, but not being quite successful in implementing an efficient model, is the presentation of Slovakia, the image of Slovakia, the brand of Slovakia. Slovakia is a relatively small country, but we still have too many images and too many brands and different, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. That some parts of our society, of our government, are promoting us as a country of tradition. Some others speak about spas, others speak about nature, some others speak about agriculture. What we want to do, and what we are going to focus on in coming weeks and months, is to create a brand, an image, a logo, whatever, something you say Slovakia and you have immediately an image of something. And here, your assistance, your advice will be very important. And the final additional element that was not part of our portfolio but is now the relationship with the Slovaks living abroad, with Slovak diaspora, Slovak communities. So I'm now the member of the government who is politically responsible for this agenda. Now let me focus more on three of these elements which are of particular importance. The first one is economic diplomacy. As I said, our economy is extremely open, liberalized. We are a heavily export-oriented country. Our export capacity exceeds 5 times our consumption potential. 85% of our GDP is generated through export. That means that we are extremely vulnerable to what is happening in the countries surrounding us, in the countries who are our major trade partners. And again, 85% of our export goes to the countries of European Union, which is a reality, but it also shows that diversification of our export is more than needed. It's really important. We cannot be depending heavily on one industry, namely the car industry, as it is the case, and on one part of the world, which is the European Union. We really would like to seek and find new possibilities for trade, for export, for investments in countries outside of Europe. And here, your expertise, your knowledge of the local environment is very important. We hear a lot, everybody speaks about BRICS, about Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. There is not much substance we can tell about the potential of this new phenomenon on the global scene, but it's clear that each of these countries has huge potential economically. We are not using our economic potential in the Balkans. We are very strongly present there politically. We are playing an important role, but the overall share of the Balkan countries in our trade turnover is 2%, which is nothing. Central Asia is a is a region with extremely high potential. We have 2 embassies there in 5 countries of the former Soviet Central Asian countries. We are not using the potential of this, and we don't have the expertise, the knowledge, and it's a direction to look at. The Republic of Korea, very important, very dynamic. Here we believe we could do more. So most of you are people with economic background, successful business people, and all of you are people who are very well settled in your local environment. Would like to ask you, to urge you to help us in addressing this challenge, which is of crucial importance for this country. Please help our ambassadors, our economic diplomats, in establishing new contacts, in identifying possibilities and potential for new trade, investment, business opportunities. That's probably the number 1 priority, because this is where the expectations from this ministry are the greatest, from the Prime Minister, from the government, and also from our citizens. Second very important issue is the issue of consular services. And let me remind you that your title is honorary consuls. So that means consular activities are important for you, as they are important to us, and they are extremely important to me personally, and I will explain why. But I'll start by saying that, what you know, we have 63 bilateral embassies abroad, and this is far from having the capacity of covering our needs worldwide. We are going, for your information, to open 3 new embassies next year in Moldova, Chisinau, in Tunisia and Tunis, and in Abu Dhabi. But, of course, given the number of countries in the world, given the fact that there are approximately 2.5 million people of Slovak origin, or people who declare themselves of Slovak origin worldwide, and there are currently more than 1.2 million Slovaks traveling around the globe every year. That shows that we need to have the extensive network of diplomatic establishments that will be able to offer assistance to our citizens. And here, of course, your role cannot be replaced. You have been told already that we have, as of today, we have 168 honorary consuls in 86 countries. So many of you are in countries where we have no embassies, or if in case we do have embassies, you are in regions, not in capitals. That's extremely important. And I would like to stress how important it is for us to offer our citizens a place, an address, a phone number they can turn to in case they are facing problems. That's extremely important. In economic diplomacy, we can gain a lot. In consular agenda, we can lose a lot. It's not a winning agenda. But every time our citizens have the feeling that they have not been paid attention to, that they have been turned down when they tried to contact either the embassy or the honorary consulate, it's always a story. We are living in a global world. Everybody is on Facebook, everybody uses internet. Our media are very hungry after this kind of informations. This can do a lot of damage to all of us, and to each of you particularly. So we will have to judge you by your accessibility, by the service you provide to our citizens in trouble, by the functionality of your offices. It's extremely, extremely important that the numbers that you have presented that are on our website are working, that there is someone who is answering the phone, and that you or your collaborators are able to provide advice, assistance. That's extremely important, because this is what people see, this is what people understand, and this is how people judge all our work. They don't really care about number of treaties we sign, but they really care whether or not they have been assisted in when they face trouble. So please do not underestimate this aspect of our common agenda and responsibility. And the third new challenge and new responsibility that I mentioned to you is the global presentation of Slovakia. And I spoke about it already. I want to add that next year provides a unique opportunity to do something more and more visible about the presentation, because it's the next year when we will be commemorating 20 years since Slovakia came into being. And Slovakia has been a success story. It's a good story to tell and good story to sell. And we have to materialize on this. We are bringing many high-level, high-profile visitors from heads of states, kings, emperors, because 20 years simply is an opportunity for them to come if they have never been here. We also celebrate 1,150 years since the arrival of Saint Cyrilius and Methodius to the great Moravian Empire. The people who brought literacy to this area, and therefore it's a cultural anniversary that has been recognized by UNESCO, and it's again something that allows us to present ourselves. Next year, Košice, the second largest city of Slovakia, together with Marseille of France, will be the two European cultural capitals of UNESCO. So it's another opportunity to be more visible. And you know that in this global world, you have to have a story if you want to be interested. You have to have something to offer. So we have plenty to offer in the course of the next year. And by the way, just a few days ago, the Lonely Planet, which is a world-famous tour guide, listed Slovakia among the top 10 tourist destinations to visit in 2013. So it's not us, it's not me telling you, but it's someone who has been respected worldwide. I suggest that you use this also in your promotion presentation activities. And when we look back these 20 years, we really see that we have achieved all we want to achieve. We are far from ideal. We have many problems to face, and we know that. But at the same time, I don't think there are too many countries around us that have changed so tremendously in such a short period of time, and that are seen and perceived as a modern, dynamic countries. And Slovakia has achieved this quality, and there is something we can be proud of, because we have worked together to achieve this. So, dear colleagues, friends, I would like to thank all of you and each and every one of you for the work you are doing to defend, promote interests of Slovakia and our citizens. There is not much we can give you. What we try to give you is to be able to invite you regularly here to Slovakia and to show the attention and love we are having for you. And I hope you could feel it during your 3-day stay here. And I hope you can come back home to your countries knowing who is the country you represent, who is the president you are representing, who is the foreign minister, who is the prime minister. I think it's not a little thing. I want you to know that you are part of a system, you are part of a family, part of the foreign policy and foreign service family. You have to be in permanent contact with our ambassadors. These are your primary contacts. I know that some of you were having some suggestions regarding the improvement of communication between the foreign ministry and your offices. I don't think it's possible to promise you that much will change on the relation between the foreign ministry here in Bratislava and yourself. It has to happen between you and our ambassadors. They should be your contact points. You should refer to them. You should complain to them whenever you have anything to say. And it's their responsibility to make sure that your information arrives at the addresses that are competent for dealing with these issues. If you have problems with communicating with our ambassadors, embassies, please let us know. We have no time to waste. We have no time to pretend. We have no time to play games. Responsibility is too huge and the expectations from our citizens are too high. We have selected each of you after a careful evaluation. And you know that we continue evaluating you on an annual basis. Therefore, we have no doubt about your qualities. You don't have to convince us who you are. We know who you are. So let us work together for further progress of this country and its citizens. They certainly deserve it. We want to make sure that this period, that is really a period of huge challenges, but also huge opportunities, will be used commonly to make Slovakia even a better place. And when we look back after this legislative period, we will see the changes we were able, together with you, to introduce. So I don't want to see any unnecessary obstacles, any administrative barriers for your work or for your communication. This is our responsibility, us as we sit here and all our collaborators, to make sure that you can work and that you can offer the best of your capacities and potential to our country. I very much value and appreciate open dialogue of people who are all going after the same goal, and I have no doubt that we are trying to reach the same goal here. So once again, thank you very much for everything you do. I wish you all the best, lots of health, happiness, and satisfaction, both personally and professionally. Once again, thank you very much for being with us. I'm looking forward to the exchange of views. We have time, and we are here for you, so please use this time. And after you will have exhausted your questions or your comments or your criticisms, then I would like to invite you for a glass of wine. Thank you very much.